The prophecies of Nostradamus have always intrigued scholars and believers over the centuries. Now, with the unexpected hospitalization of Pope Francis, many are wondering, are we witnessing the fulfillment of one of these predictions? The Vatican confirmed that, at 88 years old, Francisco needed to be hospitalized at the Gemelli Hospital in Rome due to a polymicrobial infection in the respiratory tract. The situation was classified as complex, requiring the cancellation of his official schedule. The delicate situation reignited discussions about his fragility and a possible transition in the leadership of the Church. Before we start the video, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any content. Here we talk about mysteries, prophecies, and events that can transform history. If you want to understand the connections between past, present, and future, follow our videos and share them with those who are also seeking answers. Polymicrobial infections are especially dangerous for the elderly, as they involve multiple microorganisms attacking the respiratory system simultaneously. In the case of the Pope, this is further aggravated by his pulmonary history, marked by the removal of part of a lung in his youth. The doctors have not released forecasts about his recovery, but sources from the Vatican indicate that the medical team is on alert. Persistent fever and respiratory difficulties led to hospitalization, causing concern among faithful and religious leaders around the world. The Pope's absence from public engagements increases uncertainty both within and outside the Church. Messages of support and prayers are coming from all sides, while experts analyze the consequences of a prolonged absence or even an unexpected succession. This situation presents the Church with an urgent question. Is the Vatican prepared for a new conclave? Since the beginning of his papacy in 2013, Francis has faced various medical challenges. However, this hospitalization raises a new alarm. For many, it is not just a health issue, but a possible event that could redefine the leadership of the Catholic Church. The health challenges of Pope Francis began long before his pontificate. In his youth, Jorge Mario Bergoglio faced a severe lung infection, which led to the removal of part of one of the organs. This episode marked his life and left scars that accompany him to this day. As the years went by, other complications arose. In 2021, he underwent a delicate surgery to remove part of his colon due to severe intestinal inflammation. The recovery was slow, and his endurance began to be monitored more closely. Already in 2023, a respiratory infection took him back to the hospital, raising concerns about his ability to face new lung problems. Moreover, chronic knee pain has significantly reduced his mobility, causing the Pope to be frequently seen in a wheelchair in recent years. Despite always showing a willingness to continue leading the Church, his physical condition has visibly deteriorated. On several occasions, Francis himself has admitted his limitations and even mentioned the possibility of resigning from his position if he can no longer perform his duties. Now, with the hospitalization and diagnosis of a polymicrobial infection, the situation becomes even more concerning. The accumulation of medical problems raises an inevitable question. Is the Vatican already preparing for a possible transition of power? The news of the hospitalization had an immediate impact both inside and outside the Vatican. As the spiritual leader of more than 1.3 billion faithful, his absence from official ceremonies caused great concern. The cancellation of commitments reinforced doubts about the speed of his recovery. Behind the scenes at the Holy See, ecclesiastical authorities are closely monitoring his health, while internal meetings are being held to discuss possible measures in case Francis is unable to resume his duties in the short term. Although there is a protocol for these situations, the Vatican avoids publicly discussing succession while the Pope is still alive. Outside the Vatican, the impact was also felt. Religious leaders expressed concern, and thousands of faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square, praying for his recovery. The health of Pope Francis was already a delicate topic, but now it has become one of the main debates within the Church. If his recovery is more difficult than expected, the Holy See may face challenges that will redefine its future. The Catholic world is closely watching the developments, hoping for answers to a moment that could mark an unexpected transition. If Pope Francis's health continues to deteriorate, what will happen to the leadership of the Catholic Church? This question has intensified as ancient writings of Michel de Nostradamus, better known as Nostradamus, come back into focus. The 16th century French astrologer and physician became one of the most enigmatic figures in history due to his predictions. His book Le Prophecies gathers hundreds of poetic quatrains that supposedly anticipate major global events. Although his prophecies are often vague and open to interpretation, many of them have been associated with historical events, such as the fall of monarchies, world wars, and even the assassination attempt on John Paul II in 1981. Among his writings, some quatrains seem to directly mention the papacy and times of crisis in the Catholic Church. For scholars of Nostradamus's prophecies, certain passages may be unfolding now, in light of the delicate situation of the Vatican. The big question about his predictions is that they are often reinterpreted as events unfold. For many, he would have described events that would only be fully understood when they were about to happen. With Pope Francis's current fragility, experts have turned their attention to his writings, seeking clues about what might be coming. One of the most discussed stanzas goes as follows: "At the end of the great Roman Church, there will be a pontiff of short duration. The next election will bring great contention, and Rome will fall before the final destruction." Although this prediction is enigmatic, many believe it refers to an unexpected change in the leadership of the Church, followed by a period of great turmoil. The expression "pontiff of short duration" raises speculations about a possible brief successor to Francis, in case he resigns or passes away. Furthermore, the mention of a great contention reinforces the possibility of a tumultuous conclave, something that has already happened during critical periods in the history of the Church. Another stanza, even more unsettling, suggests that a pope would abandon Rome in the midst of a deep crisis. If these predictions truly describe the current moment, what does the future hold for the Vatican? The pastor will flee the Holy City when the Great Tribulation begins. The wolves will surround the sacred chair, and a new leader will be hastily chosen. This is one of the quatrains attributed to Nostradamus that has sparked discussions in light of the current situation of Pope Francis. For some scholars, these words could be referring to the delicate moment experienced by the Vatican. Francis himself has mentioned on several occasions the possibility of resigning if his health prevents him from fulfilling his duties. If this occurs, he will be the second pope of the modern era to abdicate, following in the footsteps of Benedict XVI. This could be interpreted as a leader leaving his position in times of uncertainty, just as the prophecy suggests. However, Nostradamus's predictions are widely debated. Many argue that his quatrains are open to multiple interpretations, making it possible to fit them into different historical contexts. Even so, the gravity of the crisis in the Vatican makes this theory gain strength like never before. Could this be another prophecy coming true? The connection between Nostradamus and recent events has caught the attention of believers and experts. Throughout history, several of his predictions have been reinterpreted to fit times of crisis. But some coincidences seem more than mere coincidences. Nostradamus not only predicted difficulties for the Catholic Church, but also mentioned a pontiff with a short reign and a conclave marked by conflicts. This passage has been analyzed as a possible indication that the power transition in the Vatican is closer than previously thought. Another intriguing detail involves the global context. Nostradamus spoke of great global instability coinciding with the change in the papacy. Currently, we are living in times of increasing tension, wars, political crises, and the fear of institutional collapses. For some, the sum of these factors reinforces the possibility that their prophecy is coming true. The symbolism behind the name Francisco also raises questions. He is the first pope to adopt this title, inspired by Saint Francis of Assisi, a saint marked by humility. Curiously, another quatrain by Nostradamus mentions that a spiritual leader will fall when the humble is exalted. If these predictions are indeed linked to current events, what does that mean for the future of the Catholic Church? The health condition of Pope Francis and its possible relation to Nostradamus' prophecies quickly became one of the most debated topics in the world. And with each new development, the feeling grows that something bigger may be about to happen. Newspapers, television networks, and news portals are following every update on Pope Francis's hospitalization, while outlets like BBC, CNN, La Repubblica, and Corriere della Sera maintain a cautious tone, highlighting official Vatican bulletins. The debate on social media has taken a different turn. The focus of the major press is not only on the pontiff's health, but also on the possible administrative developments of an eventual resignation or succession. The moment of global instability makes any sign of change in the Vatican analyzed with extreme attention. On social media, the atmosphere is different. Forums and discussion groups are buzzing with speculations and theories related to Nostradamus' prophecies. Excerpts of his quatrains are being shared, relating his writings to what is happening in the Vatican. For some, this is an unprecedented moment in the history of the Church. For others, nothing more than coincidences and forced interpretations. The repercussions also spread through the religious community. Bishops and cardinals from various parts of the world asked for prayers for the Pope's recovery, while hundreds of faithful gathered in St. Peter's Square, in a scene of strong emotion. The moment recalls the vigil that preceded the death of John Paul II, reinforcing the uncertainty about the future of the papacy. Given the pontiff's fragility, expectations are growing for a possible conclave to choose a successor. The Vatican avoids speculation, but within the Church, the debate has already begun. Amid this climate of doubt, Nostradamus' words continue to be analyzed, fueling fears and questions about the fate of the Holy See. The prophecies of the French astrologer have always had a strong impact on popular culture. Whether in times of crisis or moments of great change, his writings regain notoriety, driving theories, documentaries, and even cinematic productions. Since the 20th century, Nostradamus has been cited in books, magazines, and TV programs, always associated with high-impact events. Many of his quatrains have been interpreted as predictions of wars, natural disasters, and terrorist attacks. The attack on the Twin Towers in 2001, for example, was widely linked to his prophecies, with claims that he had predicted the tragedy almost 500 years earlier. In cinema and television, his influence remains strong, but the question that intrigues many now is, could the crisis in the Vatican be yet another event he anticipated? Over the centuries, documentaries, series, and films have explored Nostradamus' prophecies, relating his words to historical and future events. His image has become a symbol of mystery and conspiracy, often cited in plots that reinforce the idea that his predictions still hold relevance today. With the current situation of the Vatican, it is no surprise that interest in his prophecies has been revived on social media and in the media. But Nostradamus is not the only seer associated with the future of the Catholic Church. The prophecy of Saint Malachy also arouses curiosity. For some, Francis could be the last pontiff before a major event that would change the history of the Church. When we add these predictions to the current circumstances, a climate of mystery and apprehension quickly spreads among the faithful and scholars. Popular culture has the power to amplify fears and create new interpretations of real events. The growing interest in the fate of Pope Francis is not just a religious concern, but also an example of how ancient prophecies continue to influence the collective imagination. But to what extent does popular culture shape our perception of what is happening in the Vatican? Despite the fascination surrounding Nostradamus' predictions, many experts reject the idea that he actually foresaw the future. Historians argue that his quatrains were written in a vague and metaphorical manner, allowing for multiple interpretations. Unlike detailed predictions, his texts do not mention dates or names, which makes them easy to adapt to any significant event, especially in times of crisis. Moreover, modern translations often distort the original meaning of the writings, adjusting them to make them seem more accurate than they really are. Another point of criticism is that blind belief in prophecies can lead to the spread of misinformation and panic. In recent years, various predictions attributed to Nostradamus have gone viral without any proof of authenticity, being widely shared as if they were facts. The Catholic Church, for its part, maintains a reserved stance. The Vatican does not recognize Nostradamus' prophecies and discourages alarmist speculations about the future of the papacy. For Catholic doctrine, faith should be based on spiritual principles and not on mystical predictions that could cause confusion among the faithful. Even so, the debate persists. The fact that some quatrains seem to align with historical events continues to spark curiosity and ensure that, even after centuries, the name of Nostradamus remains shrouded in mystery. The future of the Catholic Church is being shaped at this very moment. But are we witnessing just another period of transition, or the fulfillment of something much greater? The question remains, do the words of Nostradamus and other prophets really predict the future? Or are we the ones searching for meanings where they do not exist? If these predictions are so uncertain, why are they still taken seriously by so many people? Besides Nostradamus, other prophecies also mention events related to the Vatican and the papal succession. One of the most well-known is the prophecy of the popes, attributed to Saint Malachy, an Irish archbishop from the 12th century. According to this prediction, each pope since the 16th century would have been described by a short prophetic phrase, and Francis would be the last on the list before a major change. According to this theory, he would correspond to Peter the Roman, the leader of the Church who would face a time of tribulation before an unprecedented transformation. The final part of the prophecy says, "In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, Peter the Roman will reign, who will feed his flock amid many tribulations. After that, the city of the 7 hills will be destroyed, and the terrible judge will judge the people." For many, this passage is a warning about a crisis that could shake the Church after Francis' papacy. The possibility that he might be the last pope before a major global event continues to generate speculation and concern among the faithful. But Malachi is not the only one whose predictions have become a subject of debate. The book of Revelation in the Bible mentions a false prophet who would arise in the last days, deceiving multitudes and paving the way for chaos. Some theorists associate this figure with a religious leader who would appear in a context of instability, possibly after a tumultuous transition in the Vatican. Despite the various interpretations, none of these prophecies are officially recognized by the Catholic Church. The Vatican avoids discussing predictions about the future of the papacy, reinforcing that faith should be based on spiritual principles and not on apocalyptic speculations. Even so, the atmosphere of uncertainty remains. The health of Pope Francis raises inevitable questions about the future of the Church. If a new conclave is necessary soon, what would be the consequences? The papal succession has always been a delicate moment filled with internal disputes. One of the first impacts would be on the leadership and direction of the Church. Francisco adopted a progressive stance, promoting changes that modernized the institution. He encouraged the participation of women in positions of influence and adopted a more open tone on controversial topics. But his vision is not unanimous among the cardinals. A new election could result in the selection of a pope with a more conservative vision, reversing some of the reforms promoted by Francis. This could create divisions both within the clergy and among the faithful. Another immediate effect would be on Catholics' confidence in the stability of the Church. Given so many uncertainties, is the Vatican about to face one of the most critical moments in modern history? The answers are still not clear, but one thing is certain: the fate of the Catholic Church may be about to change forever.